And welcome to another preview, this time for Wednesday, the 23rd of November, and it features the British bred St Ledger at Doncaster, the final, with a couple of supporting opens as well. So we'll get stuck into the start of the card, which is race one and the 609. It's an A1 contest to kick off proceedings, and the best bet on the card from your correspondent's opinion. Star Cash Henry, he's come back with a bang for local handler Jimmy Gaskin. He won an open race not that long ago. He's a classy act, and he has got plenty of early speed. He's got 008 on his inside in track one, who's more of a staying type. We're already beaten Lightfoot Craft on his outside, and I don't really think that 4 and 5 are quite the class. Ballymac Rock has got a decent pitch on the outside, but I don't think he'll cope with the early speed shown from trap two. So a full point bet there. Confident selection, trap two, Star Cash Henry to lead all the way in the first. Moving on to the second race, an A2 grade event, and I thought the winner would come from down the middle here, either 3 Cossard Wonder or 4 Footfield George. I'm starting to warm to Footfield George. I think he's got good gears. On his debut, he looked like he might be a bit of a thinker, but he's definitely got his act together. He's got a little bit of early, good middle gears and stays all right. But around the 2-1 mark, I thought he was well found in the market. Maybe Cossard Wonder will offer a little bit more value at around about 4-1. Forward Thinking's got a bit of early dash on the inside, but I thought ever not always the best of breakers in 5 foot, shows a bit of early and moves into the middle. But as I say, with that sort of miss break, I don't think he'll get quite into the contest. And Bancher JD's coming down after a couple of efforts in higher grade company, but looks a bit of a one pacer in all truth. So I didn't really come to a bet in the second race, but probably 3 and 4 were the runners. In race 3, it's an A3 grade event, and there's a lot of early pace here in the shape of 3 Peggy Tashadelic and 4 Ferry Forth Eiley. And that one, actually, for Debbie Calvert, has probably got the unexposed factor in this race. Romantic Coil continues to run well after just a couple of outings recently, and doesn't quite get home after showing early pace. Rycroft Hugo, I backed this one last week at around about 6-1. We had a small bet on this one and led, and I couldn't catch my breath when he got beat. I think he cramped on the running, so he'll have to be a watching brief here. The staying types in 1 and 2, and all in all, I couldn't work out really definitely who would lead. I'll keep an eye on 4 Ferry Forth Eiley for future reference. In the fourth race, a really good B2 this one. And Raceby Babes coming back from a spell of lameness. Jimmy Gaskin's charge. She was in a rich vein of form over the 483. She's come back now to the 450, and I think she's a decent enough breaker. She'll clear Liscanny Chatner inside quite easily. Nola's White Sox is a bit of a one pacer, but got a bit of quality to be fair. And I just thought that could get inside Middleton Hayes, who ran really well last week. Probably the main danger in the early pace department. But I think that if we get a good break out of Raceby Babe, we should get the winner. In the fifth race, a good draw for Sing Along Dovey up on the inside in this B2 grade event. Not quite as tough as the previous one. And today's news will probably get a good break and move into the middle. That's going to hamper the attentions of Idera Toby on his immediate outside. And Idera Boss is a dog I like, but he tends to miss his break. And I think he might just struggle to clear the inside pair. Barnside Nyla is a poor breaker in 5, and Joyce's News will go wallop on the outside, stay wide, but has already been beaten by Sing Along Dovey in track 1. So I didn't really come to any conclusion from betting purposes, because Sing Along Dovey was about 2-1, and that is what I made her. So I didn't think there was a lot of value particularly, unless she drifts to about 3-1 on the Matchbook Exchange. It's a no play. In the 736, this is the first of the opens, this time over 450. We've already seen Enniskill Josie, the Pelor Grange Raider, go smash from track 1 and move into the middle of the track. But that was good enough to hold the attentions of local Lightfoot Dixie, who renews rivalry from track 4 here. I thought that Jumeirah Bridge ran well the other day in B2 grade after a spell off, again for Sean Parker. So that's a bit of an unknown quantity and how he's going to progress. And all in all, I thought it was too tough, and nothing really struck me at the prices. In the 7th race, we're going sprinting here, and it's an open race in name, but a lot of the graders, Tucker's Choice in 1 and Bull Run Boris in 3, and of course Coolmore Blakey in 6. He's a dog that's really running well. He's got a nice turn of early pace. He's probably the most likely winner, but he's been nibbled at in the market. It's about 7-4 now, and that's probably his price. So again, a no bet there. Probably the locals 1, 3, and 6 are the runners. On to the final then, and a real good lineup this one. A lot of these have been beating each other. It's hard to form a real conclusive opinion for Moments of Magic up on the inside. Now, she's got a fair bit of talent for Kevin Hutton. She won for us on the first round effort, and I was worried whether she'd stay or not. She didn't quite get to the front in the semi-finals. And although she's got track one, you might think that's an advantage, but I just don't see her flashing out the traps. I think she's got to lead to win, and there's plenty of early speed in the form of Mahuna Jap and Wordsworth Kingman. I just went with a really small each way bet again. I keep falling for Snooty Rose. She did us a favour in the first round at a big price, and again at 8-1, I just thought she was overpriced to get a good start and get into the contest. Again, I was really surprised when she led last week and she got picked up by Mahuna Jap, but I think she can reverse the form here. She's got a bit of early, she's got good middle, and she stays. So I think she must be in the 2, and 8-1 was just miles overpriced. On to the 9th race, and again, I've got a bet here, Pacific Captain. I kept saying about this one, putting the weight on much heavier in Ireland. He's getting somewhere near that weight now, and he was a good winner in B6 company. In effect, he says he's up into a B5, but it's not that much harder of a race. Full Bandit's more of a stand type at his inside, as is Optic Magic in track 3. Merlin Sydney and Jamara Ruby, they ran against each other last time out, and I wasn't that impressed with them. Like Cavani, he ran all right, to be fair to him, and he might get into the contest late from a decent pitch. But again, I just thought that Pacific Captain could dominate this race, and he seemed to stay much, much better with that weight on last time out. So he was a straightforward bet. 6-4 is about his mark, but I just think this dog will go forward again, so I had to bet him. Race 10, another sprint here, and a real tough race. I ended up going with a bit of value or some big price ones here. Track 4, Move Over Tommy, I thought was a bit overpriced. He's coming back on to the card after a small bout of lameness with a decent trial. And Ballymac Puddles, this one was sent off 25-1 in a graded race last time out and ran really, really well. And again, I just think been chalked up maybe on the fact that it was a big price last time, so we'll chalk up another big price. I thought Dido Bell, normally a missed breaker, and Rathme and Break, another one, not really a good starter. Might give Wonderful Places a decent run to the turn, but this one's got a slightly tougher assignment, and again, another one's been off with a cough and got questions to answer. So I thought that 4 and 6 at big prices, just for small stakes, was the play in race 10. On to race 11, a real low-grade B4, this one. The most likely winner has got to be Ballygur June, but again, well found in the market. And I wasn't really jumping up and down at 11-8, but the most likely winner, if she did happen to go out to 2-1, I'd have a small bet on track 4 in the 11th. And on to the last race. A great do it right at the start. She can sit down a little bit on the bend when there's traffic around her, and Unblinkered in track 5 tends to be a really good starter. So at around about a 7-1 mark, I thought that she was a little bit overpriced track 5. So I've just had a small play there, 5 and 2 in the last. Let's have a look at the bets then. And there you go. Confident selection in the first, 609 trap 2 Star Cash Henry. In the 658 track 3 Raisby Babe, around about the 5-2 mark, would even go as low as 2-1 there. In the final, in the 817 over the 661 metre trip, I've just gone for a small bet each way at 8-1 Snooty Rose. Pacific Captain, a dog I'm quite willing to follow in the coming weeks. I think he'll go forward now. In the 858, a little play there, both 4 and 6 at big prices in the sprint. And in the 928, Unblinkered, again, just small stakes at a price, and get a small win out of Penny's Candy, who's probably the best bitch in the race. As ever, be lucky, and we'll see you at the weekend.